Are in Canada, Toronto, Canada, at the Grow Up Conference, and we are introducing you to some of the cool people who are doing cool things in Canada. So we want to introduce Michelle Cozzuol. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Cozzuol, who's here in Canada. By the way, this Grow Up Conference is a really good conference. It's a solid conference filled with some of the local people here in Canada. So I'd highly recommend coming into it next year. And they're doing some really cool things in Canada. And because we're so far behind you guys in the United States, it is what it is. But Michelle, tell us about what you do.
Well, thank you first and foremost, Dimitri, for having me here today. This has been great. What I've done is I'm actually from Vancouver, BC, and we have created a collective for all things cannabis in one space and one place. And basically what that means is due to the regulations and extremely strict rules that we have to follow here in Canada, it makes any kind of communication, marketing extremely difficult. You're not allowed to, showcase your product. You're not allowed to put your face on your brand in Canada. Everything you want to search or find in Canada, you've got to go through your age-gated sites and such. So what we did in Canada and started out in BC was marking out a Canna Trail for each individual province and showcasing all of those things.
Canna Trail?
It's a Canna Trail across Canada.
Okay.
Starting with our legacy legends in each province, those guys that have hustled and trailblazed to make the industry what it is today, get it to legalization. And that's done through brand showcasing. It's done through marketing and also products. Like we have a Legacy Legends product, a five-pack pre-roll on the shelf right now, showcasing not just the product, but the people and the stories behind them. And it's documenting that history that we shouldn't lose. So.
Okay. So, and for our audience out there who is trying to understand what the heck's going on in Canada, give us a little taste of where Canada's at right now.
Well,
you guys went medicinal what year?
Oh my goodness. Okay, that's a question.
A long time ago.
It's a long time ago. I want
adult use in Canada.
Yeah, for so many years, but a lot of our Canadian legacy guys are the ones that did the medical. They've made the change and are going forward now. I mean, Canada has made some changes. Our government in provinces are starting to listen to us, but our biggest problem in Canada, and I'm sure the States feels a lot of it, is that even though Canada is nationally legalized, every province has to follow different rules. So even our brands, our LPs and everything, they have to go through whole new processes in every province. So we're now making steps towards making that a level playing field. So it just makes the business a lot easier for
Canadian
everybody.
Uniform Cannabis Code.
Yes.
Is there something like that being proposed?
I don't know, but I'm going to take that. That was wonderful. But that's exactly what we're trying to do.
Excellent. So like packaging, like what are the unique things, province? How many provinces are there again? 13?
No, we got territories that get us up to those numbers, but we got 11 provinces and we're
11 provinces. I think it was 11,
territories. 13. Yeah. We got the Yukon and all of that
how
as
many
well.
territories are there?
Oh, you're making me do geography.
No, well, see,
how many times am I allowed to go out and smoke before I get tested?
I don't know how many territories are in the United States. So I know we have 50 states, but
yeah,
almost
exactly.
51.
Yeah,
just kidding.
Yeah,
Joke,
so,
the American joke.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. But yeah, so the idea, like packaging, was so restricted before, in the black bag, all these warnings,
But do all 11 provinces have different packaging rules?
That has just changed. They've loosened up on the packaging. That is a federal standard.
Okay.
But when it comes to your distribution, that's probably the biggest difference you're going to find in province to province is how the distribution is handled and what portions the government even takes province per province is different.
Taxes wise,
it's different in every province.
Did you say portions?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because taxes are portions.
Hell yeah, they are.
That's the first time I've ever heard that.
Yeah.
What portion of the pie belongs to the government?
That's right.
Are you from Canada?
Yes, I am.
You guys all call it portions up here?
I don't know. I do.
I like the way that invokes an image of, don't look at this like taxes or what percentage. It's a portion.
It's a portion.
Because it makes you think about food.
Exactly. It is because that's what it is. Exactly. That is that portion.
Don't take a portion of my cannabis.
That's right. Yeah. Like don't mess with my stuff, man. You know.
I like that. Okay. So So all the taxes are different state, province
Basically,
to province.
well, the excise is federal. This
Okay.
is why it gets so confusing in Canada.
Yeah.
Excise is federal, but in BC, for example, we have a handling fee for our distribution. So all of our products go to the government, then the government sells them to all of our retailers. So
Do they physically have to go to the government or not? Just
in BC is the only place that we offer direct delivery. So we
Okay.
actually offer farm to shelf B2B connections in BC
Yeah.
because we had a strike a couple of years ago,
right.
and our government forgot to leave the distribution as an essential service. So they had to open up the communications between the farm and shelf for those businesses to survive.
So where does one go to learn all about this stuff and figure all this stuff out?
You learn to find a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Actually, for me, the biggest way to do this whole thing is actually just to get really involved with the different avenues. Like that's the problem. There's so many people doing so many things, and we need to stop and listen and say, listen, this is your lane.
Yeah.
What do you got to teach me about this? So definitely our site, jointconnections.ca.
Yeah.
We
Throwing you a softball there.
Yeah, we
Up
definitely,
to us.
we are the
Not us,
one stop where you can find,
Yes.
like I said, it can be tourism, it can be products, it can be education, it can be services. And we're going to connect you B2B connections. And we're also going to let your brand be showcased right to the consumer. So we've created that platform where anybody only has to sign into one age gated site and literally access everything in cannabis in Canada. So it's like 411 and Yellow Pages kind of had a baby.
Yeah.
And you can market and share everything you want on the internet, and people only have to sign in once. And you don't have to wonder if your accommodations are cannabis friendly because you're on a completely cannabis site. So it just opens up and normalizes everything.
Yeah, you lost me there because I was trying to imagine like this yellow informed baby of like 4-1. I'm trying to think how that looks
I
like.
guess aged myself, Yellow Pages.
No. Actually, I know the guy who started yellowpages.com. He's actually in the industry. He has a brand. So employees, who gets more value out of your site? Those who are looking to learn about cannabis, all the products, etc., how to consume, or those who are looking to navigate the industry, how to get a job, how to be an entrepreneur, or both?
All of it.
Yeah.
It's one
So I haven't
space.
visited your site yet.
Literally one space, one place, all things cannabis. So when you come in to Joint Connections, it's going to literally give you categories. If you want to look up vapes, just for example, you want to look up a product, that's great. Go into the vapes and it'll show you the brands that have come on board. We've only just started launching this last year, but BC is really well built out. We're now starting Ontario, hence why I'm here. But literally you go in and say you want to just get some education. You can go into our education portal and you'll find the brands and services that are in the industry that you can connect to. It then allows you to find out their information, how to get a hold of them, what their latest marketing thing is, because we allow the marketing right on the spaces and places. So, and it also documents all the history and brands as well. So we lead that all into an encompassed, fully cannabis absorbed space.
And that's actually much more valuable for the brands and for the industry. And that's MITA actually, we're kind of like heading towards that in 2026, more consumer oriented kind of focus. But like if somebody says to himself one day, and I don't know what kind of resources you provide for this, I want to start a vape pen in Canada. Obviously they need to go to your site to see what's out there and who's out there already. But where would they go to start the process of what's the licensing, what's the regulations, what's the rules?
So we provide
You guys provide that?
resource links and stuff like that.
Okay.
Everything that's kind of leaning you into those. How I've built the entire site is literally intaking what people are asking for, understanding their perspectives and pain points. When we hit something that's necessary and we find that solution, I put it in the platform. It doesn't matter what's right for me or what I think is right. It's for those people. So we actually have B2B connections. So somebody say looking to start something out, they could come into our site, find some resources, other B2B businesses. And we actually on our B2B end have a connector. So like our retailers can talk to all the brands in the platform and in their own little dashboard space. So it's all nice and organized and everything for them as well.
You might not know the answer to this. I don't know the answer to this. Is AI allowed to come through and scrape your site?
Are they allowed?
They're allowed to, do they?
Well, they're not supposed to because I know my site is copyrighted and the information on it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that is something that's going to be a bigger talk.
I'm just wondering about that because it just crossed my mind. Like, how does that work? Because if you can block your site from AI, it protects your value.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, it does.
And I don't know if you're Googly allowed to do that. I mean,
I don't know. I mean, the whole tech game has been interesting for me.
Yeah.
I'm not definitely.
well, we'll learn together.
Yeah, exactly. I love
Destiny
that.
probably knows.
Yeah,
She's smart.
she's younger too.
Yeah, they know this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I
So-
depend on my kids for that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's the website, the domain again?
Jointconnections.ca.
www.jointconnections.ca. But nobody says www anymore.
Now just jointconnections.ca. You don't have to put the www anymore. Maybe that's why.
Jointconnections.ca. So brands should all be working with you.
Absolutely. In BC, it's just been wonderful. I'm connected to so many brands out there, and it's just been a wonderful experience because we're solving their problems. And,
Yeah.
you know, and I think just the bigger and more we get, I mean, we got to legalization coming together. We got to legalization and everybody scattered. Let's stick together so we can keep making those bigger moves. And that just, this space allows everybody to do that.
And the concept of Canna Trail.
Yes.
Yeah. Where'd that come from? How'd that come about?
Well, I spent 27 years in the hospitality industry. So,
Okay.
In a bunch of different avenues, and I've always kind of been very excited about showcasing and sharing entrepreneurs, brands, you name it. It's all about me and planning events. And I wanted to make this connection between the farm and shelf because retailers have a hell of a time and brands have a hell of a time getting a hold of the right people. So I actually started to culminate and bring bunch of brands together and started a hot box series and jumped on the road and started taking these brands to retailers and farther out places that these brands couldn't afford reps to go out. So I do a collaborative. Throw me a few hundred, we'll make enough money to get out there and get your brand. And being on the road and recognizing this and, you know, finding a place in BC that's called Stoner BC. Hell, great spot for a sesh. And I started showcasing this in my Instagram and it went crazy. And I'm like, well, I'm just kind of living the Canna Trail dream. And that started about a year ago. And I've done 9 tours throughout BC, visited 400 retailers, probably 30 plus farms. So, and in that's where the whole Canna Trail came through. And we blocked off the entire site per province. So it's all done per province, products, everything. So
I like that name, Canna Trail.
yeah.
That's cute too.
Yeah, Canadian Canna Trail, and then it's done per province. You can sign into BC, you can sign into Ontario. Yeah.
How many and all the products technically can cross state lines as long as they
So in BC, like our excise hemp, because every province is different,
yeah,
you have to buy your tax stamps for BC.
right.
Then you have to go through a process in Ontario to buy stamps for Ontario.
Right.
So but you can and then be across Canada completely.
Pretty, I mean, with some paperwork, you can manufacture one place and spread it across the rest. And so I was kind of wondering, you know, how many like vape pen lines are there in Canada? How many gummy lines are in Canada? Is there numbers on those?
Well,
like 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 or what?
Oh, it's huge numbers. I can tell you, like just in our directory in BC, our direct delivery portal, which is a small portion of our products, is 3,200 products, and there's probably the vape category is huge in Canada and especially in BC. So I would say those numbers are like 20-30% of those overall. So it's, you know, yeah, very interesting.
You know, I think that actually got me thinking Canada shouldn't be the 51st state because you guys have a better I mean, except for all these nuances, you guys have a better status of legalization of cannabis than we do.
You can always use an extra province.
Yeah. Well, what people don't realize about the 51st state thing, that whole concept, is that America would have taken a giant shift to the Democratic Party or to the left, probably ended up with socialized medicine, probably ended up with like legalized cannabis. And like the Republican activists were like, what the hell is Trump thinking? You know, that would like turn the whole country over to the Democrats. But I don't know. It's guys strange how that works because it would be 2 Democratic senators, like 18 Democratic reps and like 4 Republican reps, and that would all shift over to the Congress, and then all the votes would shift to Canada would change America into more Canada.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like
yeah,
I don't know, and whatever. Those things are complicated, but certainly we in the United States need to get to the point of where Canada is and your acceptance in regards to federal legalization. But you remind me again of the mess that it's going to be state to state because we have these regulatory structures, these market structures, these licensing structures popping up, and
Yeah.
they're all going to have to be merged and adjusted and stuff.
Well, that's where I would say definitely to any brands, like watching the brands in Canada spread out stuff, be selective. Find your market before you find your state. That's what
Yeah.
I would say, because like you'll find a lot of BC brands, they're doing more successful in their second province, potentially out in the east versus going right next door to Alberta. So I would say definitely LPs understand your demographics and where your products fit in, and do that before you just decide to jump on board, because I know in Canada it costs our producers a ton of money trying to make those endorsements and connections, province to province.
A quick question, because I'm thinking about this province to province stuff. When Canada went federally legal for medicinal or adult use, um, the provinces then decided to do their own unique things.
So the federal government put out a set of standards and regulations that everybody must follow through Health Canada,
Right.
and all the CRA stuff and all that. And then they said, in terms of distribution and individualized, we're leaving it up to every province. So like I said, that 15% that we pay in BC for distribution,
Yeah.
in Saskatchewan, it's only 6.5%.
Yeah.
So, like for a BC producer, it makes much more sense to say, oh, I'll go into Saskatchewan and drop my product at 6%, because now I'm actually making 8% more, rather than coming back over to another province that's at 15% as well. So that's where I would say that state to state is going to be really difficult, and go slow.
Well, definitely make it clear so that on your site, so that those of us who are just more specifically interested in the regulatory licensing structure, market structure, etc., can be guided into there so we can learn. Because that's, the entrepreneurs, and we deal a lot with employees of the industry who are also very concerned about what brands and stuff are in the industry. A lot of them want to learn about how to evolve
Yeah.
their position in this industry that they love. So we
Yeah.
appreciate that. And they want to learn about how to understand the plant that they love and what
Yes.
the next cool brands are going to be.
Yeah.
So it's a big industry. There's a lot to learn, but we appreciate introducing you to our audience. How do people get in touch with you?
Definitely through the platform, the website, jointconnections.ca. And right there, it gives you the option whether you're a retailer, a brand, LP, or consumer. So you just sign in that way and we'll take care of you. If there's questions, you can ask right there. And like I said, we just started building everything out, and it's coming across the provinces. And it's just an invitation to absolutely everybody in our industry to come together.
Very cool. It's got a really good vibe here at Grow Up. We really appreciate them hosting us, and we look forward to being back next year. So thank you for being on MITA Unshackled, and nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too. Thank you so
Pleasure.
much for having me.
This has been another episode of MITA Unshackled.